If you are learning data analytics, and especially if you're working on a data analytics project that, for example, you want to put in your portfolio, you might have heard of Kaggle, which is probably the #1 source where you can find the data that you can actually use for your project. The problem with this approach is exactly what I said, meaning that most people will go to Kaggle to find the data set. And so if you're doing the same, it is super hard for you to really stand out among all of the other candidates, especially in this job market that seems super tough. And so the approach that I'm about to show you has the goal for you not to be on that kind of average level of people doing projects, but really make you more special, because this is an approach that I never heard of online. And so by following what I do in this video, you will immediately increase your chances to stand out in this job market. And this is actually an approach that I use myself when I landed a job offer as a data analytics lead last year. And this is also part of the strategies that I teach in my Analytics and Automation Academy, which I really suggest you to check out if you want me to help you all the way until you land a job offer, and overall making you a super strong candidate in only 6 weeks of work. We cover Excel, SQL, Tableau, and Python. We build together a portfolio website that is ready to go for interviews. I teach you how to build AI agents and also how to become a domain expert in areas like operations, marketing, sales, and finance. So if you're serious about a career in data analytics and you want me to help you all the way, as I said, until you land a job, then make sure to check it at the link in video description. And now, without further ado, let me show you exactly how I would approach a data analytics project that will make you stand out among other candidates. Okay, so let me give you a bit of an introduction on what I'm about to show you in this video. So just so that we are all on the same page. So usually what's happening when you work on a data analytics project, you obviously need some data to analyze and, to work with. And so most people, what they would do is going to Kaggle, finding a data set, maybe something on marketing, on sales, on finance. You download the data set, and then, if you are doing a project on Tableau or Power BI, then you upload it there, maybe using some Excel only or SQL. So that's pretty much what most people do. The approach that I will explain in this video is way different. And so instead of using Kaggle or finding data online, we are going to create artificial data, which is also called synthetic data. Now, some people here might say, well, it's not super good to work on a data project with fake data, which is a good point. But the reason for me to show you how to create synthetic data is that by using this approach, you will be able to demonstrate and show a lot more skills in a data portfolio project compared to the simplistic approach of getting data from Kaggle. And so by using actually my approach, you're going to be able to demonstrate and show off your Python skills, your Panda skills, which is a library in Python, but also a NumPy, and also another library that I'm going to show in just a second, still part of Python. But also you're going to be able to show that you know how to use statistics in the realm of data analytics, which is again another super important skill. And so basically, before even starting to analyze this type of data, these are already the list of skills that you're going to be able to show off. And so I'm going to try to show you now a simple tutorial on how to do this, starting from a beginner level so that we are all on the same page. But I'm also going to bring you to intermediate and advanced level, because again, my goal here is not to show you something that, will keep you as an average data professional, but actually bring you some knowledge that will bring you to advanced level. And so if this is all clear, let's jump into my Google Colab, which is going to be my environment where we're going to use Python and where I'm going to show you everything that you need to know about synthetic data and really having an edge when working on a data analytics portfolio project. Okay, so what you see here in the screen is Google Colab is probably the easiest way for you to get started coding Python. You can do it directly in your browser. There is no installation needed. It's all free. So that's why I love this tool. The simple way to get started is to go to colab.research.google.com. And this is what you should see here when you create a new file. So the first thing that we need to do is obviously installing the packages that we're going to use in Python. Most packages are already installed in Google Colab, but we're going to use a library in Python that you probably are not familiar with. So make sure to install it at the start. So I'm going to do a pip install, and the library they're going to use is called Faker. So let me run this command here. In my case, I already ran it, so that's why you see requirement already satisfied. But yeah, make sure to run this command before you get started with the rest of the code. Then I'm going to add another block of code here. So now what I will need to do is obviously importing the libraries that we're going to use in this Python code. So I'm going to do an import pandas as PD. I'm going to follow actually what Google Colab is suggesting me. So import pandas as PD. We also do from Faker, we import Faker. Again, I'm going to show you how to use this library in just a second. I'm also going to use NumPy. So again, import NumPy as MP. And probably the last one we're going to use is datetime, because we're going to work with datetime as well. So this is all good. Now, the thing that I wanted to show you to create our synthetic data, I'm going to define a new function. So I'm going to do a def. And the function, we can call it probably create synthetic, and let's do marketing data for this exercise. And the argument of our function will be the number of rows. And we're going to see in just a second how we're going to use this function. Semicolon at the end. And then in our function, the first thing that I have to do when working with Faker, I have to initialize Faker. So that's the way to do it is I'm going to do a fake equal to Faker. And then in brackets, I can also specify the kind of formatting of the data that we're going to generate with the Faker. And so in my case, I want something that resemble the US standards. And then is why I'm going to put n_US in brackets. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is actually creating kind of a placeholder for the columns that our dataset will have. So my placeholder will be, let's do customer IDs equal to, and then open, close square brackets here. I'm going to do sign up dates. Let me correct here. Sign up dates equal to, again, open, close brackets. And then I can do regions. That's also something that maybe we can add to our data. Let's do also ages, open, close brackets again. Maybe purchase frequencies. Again, open, close brackets. We can do last login days, open, close brackets. And also let's do churn status at the end. Okay, and so basically, obviously depends on the data that you want to create, but in my case, this is exactly what I want to create. I want to create a data set with these columns. And obviously our next step would be to, populate these columns, because as of now, it's all empty. Now, what I can define also in our function is a bit more information about the columns that we're going to work on. So, for example, we have a sign up dates, right? So maybe I can do a start date equal to date time, and then maybe, let me actually follow suggestion from Google Colab. So the start date, we set it to the 1st of January 2022, and actually the end date, I'm going to do a datetime dot today with open close brackets. And those will be kind of the thresholds for our sign up dates. Also, for example, in regions, I can already define the possible regions that I would like to have in there. So again, I'm going to follow what Google Colab is suggesting me. So let me actually remove this one. But possible regions, we will have north, south, east, and west. And so just to summarize what we've done in here, with this line, so fake equal to faker and US, I basically ensure that when we are going to generate data like addresses or names, these will follow the US format. Then what we have done here is creating an empty list that will temporarily store the data for each column for our final data frame. And then we are kind of defining some information, some variables here that will be useful later on when we actually generate the random data. Now, to generate the different rows that we're going to insert in our synthetic data set, I'm going to use a loop that will generate a single record of data for each customer. So what I'm going to do here is for, and again, I'm going to follow what Google Colab is telling me. So for underscoring range, and we are going to have in brackets a number of rows for the customer IDs, right? So first of all, we're going to work with the customer IDs. I'm going to do customer IDs append, and then I'm going to do fake dot And here I'm actually going to remove this that was suggested by Google Colab and do actually fake dot. We can use UUID4, this one here, and then open close brackets, because when working with Faker, this UUID4 will generate basically a unique identifier, in our case for the custom ID. So that's perfect. I can use this for our syntactic data that we generate for custom IDs. Okay, so now we can proceed on the sign updates. And actually, again, I'm going to follow the suggestion from Google Colab. So let me remove regions from now. And actually, I'm not going to use this one here, but I'm going to do sign updates dot append, and then in brackets, I'm going to do fake dot date between start date equal to the start date that we defined before. If you recall, this is a start date we defined before. This is a start date that we define in here, and then the end date that we have in here. So let me actually follow again the suggestion of Google Colab. So our date will be between start date and end date. So this I think should be correct. Now, because I also want to show you a different approach to this one, I'm going to now populate the regions. And again, region, we kind of define already the possible regions. So I think, yeah, this is working perfectly. So region.append, and then in this case, I'm going to use NumPy, and then I'm going to use random from NumPy. And then I don't think I want to add the probabilities. So I just need, possible regions. And so basically, I'm using NumPy to say, just choose one of the possible regions that I defined before and choose randomly the one that you like. Now, again, I want to show you a different approach this time that we're going to apply for ages. Again, the point here is that I show you different approaches to create syntactic data that obviously, you can use in different ways in your own example. And so for the ages, first of all, I'm going to define age, and I'm going to do I want an integer. And in brackets, I want to do, again, I'm going to use NumPy here. So I'm going to do np.random.normal. And let me explain you in just a second what I'm doing here. And then in brackets, I'm going to do lock equal to 35 and scale equal to 10. And then in a new line, I'm going to do age.append, and then we are going to use the age that I just defined. Let me remove this one here. But basically what I'm doing here is actually creating the age variable using a normal distribution. So, we can imagine that, for example, most people in our data set, the lock equal to 35 it basically means what is the average of the age that I would like in our normal distribution. And so what I'm saying here is choose an age randomly, but let's make sure that it follows a normal distribution so that most people will be around the mean, which is 35, and the scale will be the standard deviation. And so here we are using a bit of a statistical knowledge to create this age column. And once this age is generated, then we're going to append it to our data set. Now, for the purchase frequency, again, I want to define the purchase frequency first. And in this case, I'm going to do a np.random, and I want a random integer, which in my case, let's do from 1 to maybe 16. And then again, I want to do a purchase frequency append purchase frequency that I just defined. Again, let me remove the last one that we don't need for now. And so basically, simply here, I'm just saying choose a random number from 1 to 16, and let's put that for the purchase frequency. And probably I can do a very similar approach to the last login days. Let's again complete what Google Colab is suggesting me. So for the last login days, I want also an integer from let's do actually from 1 through 365. And then again, we're going to append it in our data set. And now the last thing that I wanted to show you is regards the churn status. So we can get a bit more advanced with the logics that we use whenever we create synthetic data. So for churn status, I'm just going to paste potential code here that you could think of when creating this column. So let me actually paste it here just because we're going to do this more quicker than the rest. But basically what I'm saying here is actually creating a bit of a logic to calculate the churn status. And so I'm basically doing a simple if-else statement, and we assume that customers with a low purchase frequency, which is less than 5, and a long time since their last login days, let's say more than 60 days that you see here, are very likely to have churn. And so for this group, we assign a 80% of chance of churning. Churning would be 1. And so this is here the percentage 0.8 that I assign to these individuals. Whereas for the other group, so everyone that it doesn't satisfy the first if statement, for the other group, then we're going to assign basically a 10% chance of churning, and the rest would be non-churning. So again, this is just to show you kind of a different approach to create data, synthetic data for this specific column, because obviously sometimes you don't want completely randomness, but you want to make sure that you have a bit of a logic that makes sense to you, to your business case. So that's exactly the goal of what I'm doing here with this if-else statement. Now, what I need to do in here is basically making sure that we store the data in our data frame. So I'm going to do data equal to pd.dataframe, and again I'm going to follow Google Colab suggestion here. So Google Colab simply mapped the customer IDs to customer IDs, and all the other columns that we used so far. I think here we are missing last login days, and I think we also need the churn status. Okay, churn status. Okay, the brackets should be correct. And then obviously last line, we return the data that we just generated here, the variable data frame variable that we just defined. And so now that our function is done, then obviously I'm going to create a new data frame called synthetic_data. Or actually, let's do df, which is going to be equal to create synthetic marketing data, which is the name of our function. And the argument I'm going to do that, I'm going to say that I want 1,000 rows. And then instead of the head of the data, so actually let me print our final data. So let's see if this code will run properly. So we're getting an error, and the error is module datetime has no attribute today. So this is the end date what we use today. So yeah, I think as I was doing for the start date, I have to do datetime.date.today. Let's see if this is fixing it. So we're getting another error. So integer object has no attribute append. So let me see. Yeah, I think this is the error here. So actually, instead of age, append age, right? Because this is the line where we use the integer. Here, I will need to do ages.append age. And now that I look at it also here, right? Purchase frequencies, I think I messed up the namings here. So yeah, hopefully there's a bit of a debugging live as you usually do when you code. So let me try to run this one. We have another error, this time for last login days. And for the last login days, I think I messed up the name of the variable here. So this should be last login days value. And then last login days is our list. And I will append the value here as well. So let me try to run it again. Okay, so I think this is running okay now. And there you have it. This is pretty much the synthetic data frame that we just generated. So customer ID, we have a proper, something that looks very similar to a potential customer ID. Sign up date, region, age, purchase frequency, last login days, and churn status. So we generated 1,000 rows because that's the argument of my function. And that is pretty much how you create synthetic data using Python, different libraries like pandas, NumPy, Faker, datetime. I showed you some kind of straightforward logics like just choosing a random number, but also some logic that I implemented using some, potential more advanced business logics that are applicable to specific columns. And now that I have this data, obviously I can start analyzing and, go ahead with any data analytics tasks. And there you have it, a simple video on how to use an approach that will allow you to create a data analytics project that is not boring and all the time based on Kaggle datasets like the majority of other people do, and can really make you show off not only your analytics skills, but also other skills that we discussed in this video, like, using Python and different libraries to generate synthetic data. If you like what we covered today in this video and you want to know more strategies that will immediately make you succeed in this job market in the field of data analytics and data science, I definitely suggest you to check out my Analytics and Automation Academy, which has the simple goal to make you land a job offer, and I will follow you on a one-to-one basis until you do so. So in case you're interested, make sure to check it out at the link in video description. I will also leave here in the screen a couple of videos that I made recently about how I clean data with SQL, but also how I clean data with Python. In case you're interested, make sure to check them out. And as always, if you found at least one useful information in this video, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel so that I can help you even further in the next videos. And well, enjoy the rest of your day. Ciao for now, and see you in the next one.